Everyone is terrified that the mark of the beast is a microchip, a vaccine, or digital currency. But here's what nobody is talking about. Millions of sincere Christians may already have the mark, and they have no idea. The truth is, the mark of the beast has absolutely nothing to do with technology. It has everything to do with worship. And it's not something that will be forced on you in the future. It's something being accepted right now, quietly, by millions of well-meaning believers. The Bible gives us a massive clue. It says the beast has a mark, but God has a seal. And throughout Scripture, a counterfeit always mimics the original. Today, we're doing something most YouTube channels won't do. We're going verse by verse, examining the biblical text, the historical context, and the original languages to uncover what the mark of the beast really is. If you're ready for deep theology made simple, hit that subscribe button. Welcome to Doctrine Distilled.
Before we can understand Revelation 13, we need to understand what a mark actually is in biblical language. The Greek word used in Revelation 13:16 is charagma. It means a stamp, an imprint, or a sign of authority. In the ancient Roman world, a charagma was used on official documents, coins, and decrees. It showed who had the authority to issue that document. But there's another word we need to know: seal. In Greek, it's sphragus. A seal in the ancient world had three specific elements: the name of the king, his title or office, his territory or domain. For example, a royal seal might read, Darius, King of Persia and Media. Name, Darius. Title, King. Territory, Persia and Media.
Now, here's the critical question. Does God have a seal? Yes. Isaiah 8:16 says, "Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples." God's seal is in his law. And when we examine the 10 Commandments, only one commandment contains all three elements of a biblical seal. The fourth commandment says, "The seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God." Let's break it down. Name, the Lord, Yahweh, Jehovah. Title, thy God. He is not just a God. He is your God, the Creator. Territory, the seventh day, his domain of time, established at creation. This is the only commandment that identifies who God is. Ezekiel 20:12 confirms this. "Moreover, I also gave them my Sabbaths, to be a sign between them and me, that they might know that I am the Lord who sanctifies them." The Sabbath is God's seal. It's his signature on his law, proving he is the Creator.
Now, let's turn to Revelation 13. We see a beast rising from the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads. But to understand this beast, we need to go back to Daniel 7. Daniel 7:25 describes a power that would arise with these characteristics. "He shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, shall intend to change times and law. The saints shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and half a time." That's 3.5 prophetic years, or 1,260 literal years. Now, let's examine history. Which religious political power claimed authority above God, persecuted God's people for approximately 1,260 years from 538 AD to 1798 AD, openly claimed to have changed God's law? Historical records are clear. The Catholic Church itself acknowledges that it changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. In 1894, the Catholic Mirror, an official publication, stated, "The Catholic Church, by virtue of her divine mission, changed the day from Saturday to Sunday." Cardinal James Gibbons wrote in 1876, "Is Saturday the seventh day according to the Bible and the 10 Commandments? I answer yes. Is Sunday the first day of the week? And did the church change the seventh day to Sunday? I answer yes." Now, I'm not saying this to attack Catholics. Many Catholics are sincere believers who love Jesus. but we must examine the claims of religious systems against Scripture. Daniel 7:25 predicted a power would think to change times and laws. The Hebrew word for think here implies an intention, a plan. And history shows this change was made, not by divine command, but by human authority.
Now, let's look at Revelation 13, 16, 17. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. First, notice, the mark is received on either the forehead or the hand. Throughout Scripture, the forehead represents the mind, your beliefs, your thoughts, what you accept as truth. The hand represents actions, your works, what you do. Exodus 13:9 says, "It shall be as a sign to you on your hand and as a memorial between your eyes, that the Lord's law may be in your mouth." So God's law is to be on your hand, your actions, and between your eyes, your mind. The mark of the beast is a counterfeit of this. Here's what this means. You can receive the mark in one of two ways. In your forehead, you knowingly, intellectually accept a false system of worship. You understand the truth about the Sabbath, but choose to reject it. In your hand, you may not fully understand the truth in your mind, but your actions align with the false system. You worship on the wrong day, even if you don't fully understand why. But, and this is critical, the mark is not received accidentally. Revelation 14:9-11 warns those who worship the beast and his image and receive his mark. The Greek word for receive is lambano, which means to actively take, to accept willingly. You cannot accidentally receive the mark. You must knowingly, willfully choose to accept a counterfeit system of worship over God's commandments.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the number 666. Revelation 13:18 says, "Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. First, notice, let him who has understanding calculate. The Greek word for calculate is sophizo, which means to count or compute. This is a puzzle to be solved. In Hebrew and Greek, letters have numerical values. This is called gematria. For example, in Hebrew, A equals 1, B equals 2, etc.
Now, what title does the beast power claim? Historically, the Pope has worn a mitre, a ceremonial headpiece, with the inscription Vicarius Filii Dei, Latin for Vicar of the Son of God. Let's calculate the numerical value using Roman numerals, which also have numerical values. V equals 5, I equals 1, C equals 100, A equals 0, no value, R equals 0, no value, I equals 1, U equals 5. In Latin, U and V are interchangeable. S equals 0, no value, F equals 0, no value, I equals 1, L equals 50, I equals 1, I equals 1, D equals 500, E equals 0, no value, I equals 1.
Add them up. Vicarius equals 5 plus 1 plus 100 plus 1 plus 5 equals 112. Filii equals 1 plus 50 plus 1 plus 1 equals 53. Day equals 500 plus 1 equals 501. Total 112 plus 53 plus 501 equals 666.
Now, I know what you're thinking, but that's just one title. And you're right, but it's significant because this title claims the Pope is the vicar or substitute for Christ on earth. It was historically used on papal regalia. The numerical value matches exactly.
But there's a deeper meaning.
In biblical numerology, 7 is the number of perfection, completion, God, 7 days of creation, 7 churches, 7 seals. 6 is the number of imperfection, falling short of 7. The number 666 is a trinity of imperfection. It represents humanity's ultimate attempt to replace God's perfection with human imperfection. It's the number of a man, human authority, claiming divine power.
But God doesn't leave us in darkness. Right after the warning about the mark of the beast, Revelation 14 shows us 3 angels flying through heaven with the most urgent message in human history. The first angel, Revelation 14, 6 through 7, then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, saying with a loud voice, "Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and springs of water." Notice the call to worship is directly tied to the Creator. And how do we know he's the Creator? Through the Sabbath, the very seal we studied earlier. The first angel is calling people back to worship the Creator by keeping his commandments, starting with the Sabbath.
The second angel, Revelation 14:8. And another angel followed, saying, "Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." Babylon means confusion. In Scripture, Babylon represents false religious systems that mix truth with error. The second angel warns that these systems are falling because they've led people away from pure truth. The third angel, Revelation 14:9 through 12. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and his image and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." Verse 12 is the key. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. The saints, the true followers of Christ, are identified by 2 things. They keep the commandments of God, including the Sabbath, the 4th commandment. They have the faith of Jesus, not just faith in Jesus, but the faith of Jesus, his trust, his character, his obedience. This is our hope. This is our identity. Not law without grace, not grace without law, but both together. Now, I know what many of you are thinking, but what about microchips? What about AI? What about digital currency? Let me be very clear. The Bible is not talking about technology. Revelation 13 mentions buying and selling, but this isn't about an economic system. It's about worship and allegiance. The mark is received when someone with full knowledge of the truth knowingly and willfully chooses to accept a false system of worship over God's true commandments. And here's the beautiful, comforting part. God does not force anyone. Right now, millions of sincere Christians observe Sunday without understanding the truth about the Sabbath. They are not marked. They don't have the light. They're following what they've been taught in sincerity. But when the truth is made plain, when people understand that the Sabbath is God's seal and that Sunday observance is a human tradition that replaced God's commandment, then the choice becomes clear. And that's when the mark is received. When someone knowingly rejects God's commandment and chooses human tradition instead. Revelation 18:4 gives us God's final plea. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues." God is saying, come out of confusion. Come back to my truth. Come back to my commandments.
The mark of the beast is just one of the deep prophecies we're exploring here at Doctrine Distilled. If you're tired of confusion and ready to discover what the Bible actually says, hit that subscribe button and join our community of truth seekers. Because deep theology deserves simple truth. And that's exactly what we're here to distill together. See you in the next video.